Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something you've almost certainly seen hanging around your houseplants. You've probably wondered about it, and honestly, you might have completely misunderstood what it even is. We are demystifying perlite today and uncovering exactly how it creates a thriving foundation for your plants. So, let's figure out how to leverage this incredible material together. Okay, let's dive right into this because there is a massive misconception we need to clear up right off the bat. You open up a fresh bag of premium potting soil, and you see all these little white, squishy-looking pellets scattered throughout the dirt. It's so common to wonder, wait a minute, why are they filling my plant soil with crushed-up styrofoam? I mean, it really looks like cheap filler or toxic plastic. But let me tell you, if you're buying quality soil, it is definitely not styrofoam. What you're actually looking at is perlite. And get this, it's a naturally occurring volcanic glass. It's a 100% natural earth mineral. It's completely sterile, non-toxic, and it has a neutral pH, which makes it absolutely safe for pretty much all types of plants. So it's not some weird plastic filler. It is a deliberate, highly effective soil amendment designed specifically to improve how your soil breathes and drains. Here's a quick look at our agenda for today's explainer. First, the volcanic gardening secret. Second, the plant matchmaker. Third, how and when to use. And finally, safety and alternatives. Starting off with Section 1, the volcanic gardening secret. So the journey actually starts with raw volcanic rock, primarily a type of obsidian. When manufacturers take this super heavy, dense rock and heat it to a blistering 1600 degrees Fahrenheit, something genuinely magical happens. The trapped moisture inside the rock instantly vaporizes, causing the mineral to pop and expand up to 16 times its original size. It literally behaves exactly like popcorn. What you're left with are these incredibly lightweight, crisp white granules that are absolutely packed with tiny, microscopic air pockets. And this brilliantly illustrates why it's so great for soil. But here is a absolutely vital piece of the puzzle you have to remember. Perlite offers absolutely zero nutrition. None. Because it's chemically inert, it has a negligible cation exchange capacity, which, is really just a fancy scientific way of saying it cannot hold on to plant nutrients. If you flush perlite with water, the nutrients just wash right through. So when you add this to your soil, you aren't feeding your plant. What you are doing is providing a permanent structural upgrade. You're giving the roots a highly breathable mattress that completely stops dense soil from compacting into a hard brick. Moving on to Section 2, the plant matchmaker. Let's look at the VIP list of plants that absolutely thrive with perlite. We're talking succulents, cacti, jade plants, peperomia, and even larger structural plants like boxwoods and ficus. But why these plants? Well, because they are incredibly susceptible to root rot. If their roots sit in soggy, wet soil for too long, they will literally drown and decay. The air pockets in the perlite ensure all that excess moisture flushes out immediately. It leaves behind these wonderful oxygen-rich pockets that let those specific root systems breathe and expand vigorously. Conversely, there are definitely times when you want to rethink using high amounts of it. Because perlite is just so lightweight, it dries out soil rapidly. So if a plant desperately needs to stay consistently moist, too much perlite is going to work right against that. Also, for very young seedlings, a heavily perlite-based mix might just be way too light to provide the physical structural support those tiny stems actually need. It's really all about balancing the soil to mimic the plant's natural habitat. All right, let's get into the practical stuff with Section 3, Masterclass, How and When to Use. Let's move to and see how this builds out your soil mixes. For your standard everyday houseplants, you're going to want to aim for roughly 75% standard potting soil to 25% perlite. Some people do 80-20, some might do 70-30, but a quarter perlite is really the sweet spot. Standard potting soils are usually super heavy in peat moss, and peat moss absolutely loves to compact over time. Mixing in that 25% perlite breaks up the dense dirt, creating those vital airways so water can flow right through without turning your favorite pot into a swamp. But notice how drastically that ratio shifts for our desert friends. For succulents and cacti, you want an aggressive 50-50 split, half soil, half perlite. These plants are genetically designed to survive in arid, fast-drying environments, right? So this 1-to-1 ratio perfectly replicates those conditions. It ensures the soil dries out incredibly fast between your waterings, keeping those super delicate desert roots perfectly safe from rot. Now, where you put that soil mix matters just as much as what's in it. Perlite is a champion in pots, containers, and raised beds. It's also fantastic if you need to permanently break up really heavy, sticky clay soil. However, take a look at its worst uses. You should almost never use perlite in your standard in-ground garden beds. Remember how incredibly light it is? Well, it floats. If you mix this straight into your front yard garden, the very first heavy rain will cause all of that perlite to float straight up to the surface, and then the next gust of wind will just blow it right out of your yard. Before we move to the next section, I want to highlight a few clever, advanced uses. Because perlite is baked at 1600 degrees, it comes out of the bag completely sterile, and that makes it an amazing standalone medium for propagating raw plant cuttings. If you stick a fresh cutting into pure, damp perlite, the high airflow triggers rapid root development without any of the rotting risks you get with wet dirt. It is also a huge favorite as an inexpensive, totally reusable medium for hydroponic growers. Finally, Section 4, Essential Safety Tips and Healthy Alternatives. Okay, there is a quick health warning we need to be aware of regarding perlite dust. As those little popped volcanic granules rub together during shipping, they crush really easily. And that creates this very fine mineral powder that settles right at the bottom of the bag. If you just aggressively dump the bag out, a cloud of that dust is going to puff right up into the air. Inhaling that crushed volcanic glass dust can be highly irritating to your respiratory tract. Now, obviously, this isn't medical advice, always consult a health expert for that, but just as a practical, everyday gardening step, we really want to avoid breathing in dust of any kind. So, the crucial point is how we handle it safely, which is actually incredibly easy to do. Step 1, just pop on a standard protective face mask, just to be safe. Step 2, open the bag gently rather than just ripping it open. And Step 3, this is the real pro tip here. Take a spray bottle or a cup of water and lightly dampen the perlite right inside the bag before you even try to scoop or pour it. That water instantly traps the fine dust, rendering it completely harmless and perfectly ready to mix safely into your soil. Now, earlier we established that perlite is pretty terrible for standard outdoor garden beds because it floats away and offers zero nutrition. So what on earth should you use instead? Well, there are some really fantastic natural alternatives. Organic compost, well-rotted manure, and leaf mold are absolutely incredible. Not only do they improve soil structure and drainage over time, but unlike perlite, they actually have a high nutrient holding capacity. They're feeding your plants and building healthy soil ecology for the long term. And hey, if you strictly just need drainage without the floating problem, coarse sand is a much heavier, locally available alternative that definitely will not blow away. To wrap this all up, perlite isn't magic and it certainly isn't plant food. But as a structural soil amendment, it is an absolute master of root aeration and superior drainage. By taking a natural volcanic glass and literally popping it like popcorn, we get this incredibly sterile, lightweight tool that creates the perfect oxygen-rich environment to keep our potted plants, our succulents, and our cuttings thriving and entirely free from root rot. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Go take a look at your potted plants at home. Are they sitting in heavy, dense, compacted dirt right now? Or will you transform their environment with a better, breathable soil mattress today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you've learned exactly how to harness the power of this incredible volcanic glass. Get out there, check those roots, and I will see you next time.